Welcome to another edition of Talk City Greensboro, produced by GTN, featuring interviews and events happening around town. It's an easy way to stay in the know while you're on the go. Subscribe to Talk City on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or SoundCloud so you can keep up with what's going on in Greensboro City government. I'm your host, Josh Johnson, and as always, alongside me at the controls, my good friend, Mr. Devin Smith. How are you, sir?
I'm doing just fine, Josh. How about yourself?
I can't complain.
Yeah, well, this is going to be one of my last podcasts for a little while, and then I'll be back after my parental break, so take care of the listeners while I'm gone.
I'll do my best, folks. Hang on. It's going to get weird.
Well, what's up, Greensboro? Thanks for joining us again on another podcast. It's going to be an interesting one, especially if you are into gaming.
Yes.
Esports has gained serious popularity over the last 3 or 4 years, and so much so that a school right here in our own backyard, Uncg, has become very interested in it. And with that being said, we have two guests with us. We have Karen Bull, who's the Dean of Online Learning at Uncg, and Todd Sutton, who is the Associate Vice Chancellor in the Information Technology Services. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you. She caught it.
Yeah, she did. She did.
So the two of you are taking on the challenge of introducing esports as a competitive team and as a curriculum centered in a program on kind of like gaming and things like that. So I've got 3 questions for you, and either one of you can answer it, right?
Sure.
So how did this even get started at a university level? Where are you in the process? I know you've got some things going on with it. And then what are you looking for once it's up and running in full throttle?
Sure. Sure. Well, I'll start. So I guess about a year and a half ago, if that, our chancellor came to a few of us and said, I'm hearing a lot about esports. I know it's the next big thing, but I don't know a ton about it. We should look into, what UNCG should do in esports, right? And so we knew going into it that we needed a facility. And so we started by, where can we have a room where we can put computers in so that students can game and that kind of thing, because we knew we already had a large group on campus that was already meeting, and we'll talk about them in a few minutes, I guess, but already meeting to game and competitive, state ranked and nationally and that kind of thing, right? So we began by looking at the room, but we also knew that we needed more than just a room, right? If we were going to do it, we wanted more than just a room for students to go and play games in. And so we started looking at what the curricular tie-ins would be and also what the community impact would be, once we stood up a program. Like Karen and I have met with, so we were named as the co-leaders of UNCG's esports initiative it was towards the middle of January, end of January. So we've been on a rocket since then. I mean, we've been meeting with so many people and learning so much stuff. And the thing that we found out is that there's no right way to do esports at the collegiate level, right?
Yeah.
So we've been looking for the thing that makes it uniquely UNCG, and so there's all sorts of stuff we can talk about with that. But that's really how we got started. Is the chancellor had the idea because of all the buzz he'd been hearing about esports, and said we need to do that. And if you know anything about our chancellor, he doesn't do anything small. He's a big steps kind of guy. I mean, that's his message, and so we love it, and we love him, for that. But he said, let's go in and let's do it, and let's do it big. So
and so where are you in the process of creating said curriculum to tie something it's gained a lot of popularity as what some would it's coming from a hobby to an actual career field.
Yeah. So it's actually pretty exciting. We have identified subject matter experts to work with us to build those courses and get them out into the space. And so what we are offering is a non-credit digital certificate. And there will be 6 courses in that certificate. And so students will earn a badge all along the way. So after each course, they'll earn a badge. And that all stacks to the digital certificate. And it's really a smattering of the esports industry. How to build a business model, how to run a tournament, how to broadcast, market, right? Twitch, all of that, the well-being of a student, the mental health, right? It's really exciting. And what's really special, as Todd was talking about, that what makes us uniquely UNCG, is the fact that we're going to look at equity, diversity, and inclusion within the curriculum, because that's where we feel proudest about our accomplishments as an institution and the population that we serve. And so we really feel that we can move the needle in that space in the curriculum.
Which I guess is a perfect segue into that's what you hope this program results in is creating equity in this type of industry.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So right now you already have a gaming club, and this is getting some serious traction because you have plans to build a gaming lab. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's an arena actually is what we're calling it. So it's
Nice.
going to have, it's again, go big or go home. That's the way we look at it. So I wish I could show you the video of our room right now because it's pretty impressive. But if you go to esports.uncg.edu, you can see the video of the space and a lot of information there. But it's going to have 36 machines in it. It's going to have in the center of the room. There's this really cool. We call it the battle stage. It's got six machines on one side, 6 machines on the other, and that's where we do the competition. We also have a shoutcast desk at the end of that, right? So you'll have 2 people up there, play-by-play and color commentator.
Oh my gosh.
So if you think about it, there's you've got the opportunity to not only get experience in playing the games and in competition, but there's broadcasting. There's all of these other tie-ins that that'll be natural into the room. But we can host these events in that space. We can also host practice when the athletes come in, and we've got a room where they can go and strategize, and that kind of thing. I mean, it's a really cool space. But we also wanted to make it a place that if you don't have to be a hardcore PC gamer to come in and enjoy it. So along one of the walls, we're going to have 4 console stations. So large TVs that you can just plug right into the front of. We will rent out, PlayStations, Xboxes, that kind of thing. So if you're just a student who's a casual gamer and you want to come in with some friends and blow off some steam in between classes, we'll have the ability for you to do that as well.
Absolutely.
You think it's okay to set up a room and mix the PC people and the console people? I mean, is that going to be safe?
Well, I hope we don't have any dance-offs, the Sharks and the Jets, that kind of thing. Yeah, I think we'll be fine. Yeah.
Well, so how do you think this is going to change academia? I mean, UNCG specifically and what you are offering, the students that you are trying to attract, but even in a broader sense, how do you think this is going to affect the greater Greensboro community?
Yeah, so I think that we will have an opportunity to make a wonderful impact in that space, given our mission and how we have a focus on research as well as teaching. So there's a really great opportunity to give students a hand-on experience as well as research in the field and really make an impact to the greater community, not only internally with Greensboro, but then outside of Greensboro as well, and really educate around what is eSports, what are the opportunities, giving inspiration to a K through 12 student who may not have thought about coming to college. This is a door that we can open for them through eSports and really connect with those students, and they might have that possibility of saying, oh my goodness, I can go to school at UNCG and it can be something that I'm really interested in. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I just think it's such a neat opportunity that our chancellor has really given us.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And as Karen talked about earlier too, I mean, the thing that we're also really excited about is the opportunity to try and move the needle on culture, right? So the esports has this, and gaming in general has this really sort of impression about the culture, and it's white male dominated, it's Asian male dominated. It can be a daunting place for women to try to get into. It can be a daunting place for folks who are underrepresented part of the population to try to get into, that kind of thing. And that's really where we're focusing on the EDI piece. Trying to move the needle to make it a safe space that you don't even think about things like that when you come in, because all are welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. So 2 things that I wanted to say. One, piggybacking off of what you said, it seems like we only hear when something bad happens that, and it's typically like a white male saying some anti-Semitic or racist, something like that. That's all we hear about esports in a negative light. That's anyway. Right. And so that'd be great that you're trying to change that and make sure that other people are being represented as far in the community, you know what I mean? So women feel comfortable, everybody feels comfortable in that community. But something that I was thinking about earlier, Josh, is that this was not a thing when I decided to go to college.
Right.
Like, oh, man. I love gaming, but nobody was saying, hey, you could go to school for that. They were like, yeah, you can go and maybe design some games or something like that, which is something slightly different, but they were like, they never said you could go to school to play games. So I think that this is awesome and great, and I hope that everyone takes advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, my parents told me for years I'd never make any money playing games. Of course, this was back when I was rocking the Atari. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's weird I love it, but it is slightly odd to see this whole culture and this whole industry built up around playing games. And I mean, it's, like I said, I rock the Atari.
Yeah.
So,
But it's very interesting, though, if you follow the numbers, if you look at the money, if you look at the viewership, if you look at those kinds of things, esports is on pace to I mean, so if you look at, the entertainment industry, so film and music, esports has already eclipsed it in terms of revenue as an industry, right?
Yeah.
If you look at viewership around things like the Super Bowl and the NCAA tournament and things like that, esports is right there and about to overtake, because you've got that worldwide viewership on things like Twitch and YouTube. And
Absolutely.
so,
Yeah.
Yeah, and the video game industry as a whole is at the top of the entertainment industry.
That's right.
So.
Right now, a lot of people are staying home and playing games. So let me ask you this: number one, how's the gaming club doing at UNCG? And then number two, how do you think that this affects the students that are going through it right now? How do you think that this has positively affected them?
So between our serious competitive part of the gaming club and the more casual part, we've got about 200 members. So it's a pretty good representation already. We've got folks who are nationally, state ranked definitely, and I think we have a couple who are nationally ranked in things like League of Legends, Super Smash Brothers. We're competitive in a few different places. But it's funny that you called out, especially during this time. I've got a friend, a colleague at UNCG actually, who teaches a computer science course. And he said he asked his 35 students at the beginning of this last semester, how they were feeling, and everybody was, they're getting through as best they can, they're disconnected, that kind of thing. But he said 100% of the people in his class raised their hand when he asked how many had been gaming through this. Male, female, race, it didn't matter. Everybody's gaming, and everybody's finding that sense of community that they can't get right now to go out and meet with people face to face. They're finding it online.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think that this is just a small step to have colleges represented as far as in the esports? So there's a lot of professional teams that are being represented in esports, like in basketball and football, where these professional organizations are now getting esport teams. Do you think that that's a possibility at the college level, where you see college basketball teams and college football teams, and now you're going to start seeing esport gaming teams all over the country?
So we would love to see that, and Todd might be a better have a better response to this. But there are some constraints with the NCAA, because these athletes, these esports athletes, they're coming in already with sponsorships and earning dollars, right? And so that makes it a little bit challenging, right, in that space. I don't know if you have any follow up to that.
No, you're exactly right, Karen, and it even compounds the problem when you think that the average age of retirement for an esports athlete is 21.
What?
Yeah.
21.
That's right.
Right. So they've already gone professional. They've made their money. They've gotten their sponsorship. So they're not looking at college like a basketball player, or football player would as the track to get to the pros. They're already there. So what you'll find is, yes, we would love to have a program that's competitive at the national level. Obviously, to represent UNCG, that'd be fantastic. But more than that, that's why we have to think about what beyond just a team that's competing makes esports important for UNCG, and that's why we're looking at all the other things around it, the tie into academics, the tie into the community, that kind of thing, because it's got to be more than just playing games in a room.
And there's just so many avenues, right? So we could help students learn how to do graphic design for games, write scores for games, right? The nutrition, kinesiology, well-being of the student, right? There's just or of the athlete, I should say. There's just so much that can go into that that we can bring to bear for students to really open their eyes to what's available in the industry. It's not just about playing the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
so go ahead.
No. I was just going to ask, how can people get involved? Is that what you're going to ask?
Yeah, but go right ahead.
Then you ask it.
So how can people get involved, both student or community member?
Sure. So I think you can start by going to esports.uncg.edu. There's some information there, a lot more to come. So Karen and I have sort of a specific mandate right now. She's launching her program over the course of the next few months. I'm sort of at the point of making sure that we get doors open on our arena in August is our goal at this point, right?
Okay.
Once we do those two things, then we've got to figure out what else? You know,
Yeah,
what are the
yeah.
next steps beyond that? And so I think that's where we're already meeting. So earlier this week we met with Parks and Rec from the city.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're meeting with the YMCA. We're already starting to think about what are the logical tie-ins into the community where we can start to move the needle on some of the things
That's
we've talked
great.
about.
That is great.
Which I know our Parks and Rec department has done a couple of gaming tournaments
That's right.
over this
That's right.
pandemic to try to bring people together. So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely get it. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing this information. Please invite us to the arena when it's done.
Yes,
and
please.
it's open. I would love to see it. And just again, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay tuned in weekly by subscribing to Talk City Greensboro on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. And don't forget, you can download Talk City from SoundCloud.
That's it for this week. Thank you for tuning in to Talk City. Be sure to watch GTN, your official source for news and information about the city of Greensboro. GTN is available on Spectrum Channel 13
AT&T U-verse Channel 99.
and North State Channel 31.
GTN also streams live on Roku and the city's website at greensboro-nc.gov.
Have a good one.
See ya.